Hello out there, this is the AnYPony, and I have a question for you. Who deserves the second ticket the most? Not long ago I released my top 5 yay and nay list for the Ticketmaster, and in my number 1 nay I question how appropriate the more really is. Including all your friends in all your activities is pretty much impossible most of the time. A situation in which you have to choose between friends sucks, big time, but avoiding such a decision the way Twilight did is simply not suitable for daily use. So let's pretend there are only 2 tickets. Sending them back is not an option because this scenario has already been explored in the episode, so Twilight has to pick. Okay, this question is a bit different because, well, there are only 6 possible answers. Applejack, Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, Rarity, Fluttershy and of course Spike. But I guess neither you or me are interested in an ordinary poll. So, this is how it works. Every pony has one single vote for one of the characters. Just leave a comment with the name of your champion in the first line. Those votes will be counted in a standard poll fashion. Oh, and yes, you are allowed to name other candidates as well and explain why they deserve to go to the gala. Like I could stop you from doing this anyways. If a name appears often enough, he or she will be included in the score. But you can also leave a little bit of an explanation why a particular character is the most deserving in your eyes. The most original, convincing and entertaining answers will be featured in the usual fashion. And to make it even more confusing, every pony has also a second vote for the most deserving pair to go. The idea? Twilight gives up both tickets. I recommend leaving a second comment for your pair up vote, so you can explain both your choices a bit. And remember to upvote cool comments. Thumbs up do not influence the poll. To sum things up, you have 1 vote for a single character to accompany Twilight and 1 vote for 2 characters other than Twilight to go together. Those 2 votes will be counted separately. In addition, you are also free to leave short explanations for each of your votes. Those will not affect the polls but may get your comment featured. As always, video replies are also welcome if you have the feeling you have to say a bit more. Happy voting! Well, this video was not the first one in which I asked for your input as a follow-up to an episode analysis. Last time I wanted to know how you guys explain all those coincidences in the pilot episodes. And with last time I mean over 2 months ago. Why did it take so long? Well, I blame AnY. Because I asked 5 questions at once and I got an insane amount of super long replies, not to mention a total of 11 response videos.
That's an Academy record!
So, me as well as my volunteering assistant commentator Cypher and Brony4869, sorry again dude for calling you Nitroroni last time. By the way, if you get the reference in his name, Brony4869, you are already a better nerd than I am. He needed to explain it to me. Well, the 3 of us had a really hard time getting through all of those. A very big thank you to Cypher, who eventually took one for the team and sacrificed a bit of his sanity and captured all the comments I am about to feature. First of all, a quick reminder to all the viewers on Reddit like DrWolf. You are very welcome to leave elaborate answers on Reddit and tell people about it like DrWolf did, but sadly those replies cannot be included in the follow-up video. First, I need to keep all replies in one place, otherwise it becomes unmanageable to stay on top of things. Second, the amount of replies I get is already tricky to manage and the unlimited comment lengths on Reddit would make it even worse. Even with really good and elaborate explanation like the Rubber Furies one here, I can hardly do it justice in my video anyways. This is content for a whole video in itself, like the one Curtis Bodiker made. Filling in the holes addresses each of my questions and gives a nice and thoughtful explanation accompanied by a good looking visual presentation. So let's take a look at what you guys had to say. I got a lot of the classic answers like magic and destiny, blaming Fausticon or the writers. Some even used the good old kids show argument. Michael Kroush reminded us of the limitations of pilot episodes in general in his video response, and Voice of Reason pointed towards the hero's journey. Oh my, Rachel Wolf really has a bone to pick with Celestia it seems. This makes even a Trollestia reference look nice. Anyways, I also got a reply from Digi because I was wondering what his actual unscripted thoughts were. He argues that this is a way how interesting stories in fiction work. They are a bunch of coincidences that just turn out the way they are so the story works in the first place. And he totally has a point. RaifuTD's explanation goes into a similar direction but less meta. There is a dimension for every possible outcome and we simply follow the one in which everything turns out the way it does. Even so, I prefer it when the coincidences a story is built on are still believable. Now let's go through my questions. What about Twilight's lucky timing? Most answers went down the lines that Celestia made it intentionally a close call. Regard has an explanation based on what we have learned about Sunset Shimmer in Equestria Girls, and has as a zombie chick assumed that the princess wanted to prevent a mass panic. Twilight meets exactly 5 others who want to befriend her. A lot of you refer to the magical connection the main 6 shared since the day they all got their cutie marks. Aaron Bundy refers to the fiction Better Living Through Ponies and Science, a fiction by Penn Stroke I have yet to read, in which apparently the remaining 5 had been paid to befriend Twilight. Lion to Gear has a theory that the friendship was not really intended but just a lucky coincidence. Wait, doesn't this kind of contradict the explanations Twilight and Celestia give us how the elements work? Is it possible that the whole friendship aspect is just a hoax? They just happen to turn out the elements of harmony. 2 popular explanations for that convenience were either that the elements of harmony themselves influenced the way things turned out. Raro Vision has an especially interesting take on that one. By the way, I got the reference, Shadow. Nice one. Or the second one, it could have been 6 other ponies after all. Regard went in his video even a step further and assumed that it didn't even have to be 6 ponies. How come the 6 stick together? 123 Joseph has an interesting theory that Twilight's intense magical aura has some kind of seductive effect on the others. Kronikarz explains in his video how it all boils down to the fact that friendship is magic. A bit of a sad explanation comes from the official Shizo. He speculates that the main 6 simply snuck together because all of them, except maybe Pinky, had no real friends before. Y5 challenges fitting to showcase their elements. Quite a lot of you had the feeling that this was Luna's doing, fighting from within Nightmare Moon. Sci-Fi himself was one of those, as well as Brony4869. He brought up a parallel to a character from Yu-Gi-Oh! In his response video. Rebrella reminds us of the discovery Brony and Anthony C made in their infamous Canterlotgate review. What if Luna was never reformed and it was all part of her scheme? And finally, the one many refer to as the big one. What the buck is Celestia's deal? Fang and Claw goes really deep into it. His video may be a bit long, but I think his final conclusion is really intriguing. If you want to check it out, stick with him until the end, it is worth it. Other explanations are that Celestia actually always had bigger plans we simply never had learned of since, well, everything turned out fine. Yolki speculates that Celestia was actually controlling everything and everyone around Twilight, watching out for her. Kind of similar to Tiago T's comparison to the architect or oracle from the Matrix. Hellripper's idea goes in a similar direction, but without the direct control over beings. Celestia simply set everything up and even staged Nightmare Moon's return. Celestia herself was impersonating Nightmare Moon and fighting the main 6, while Luna was still in prison. Adam Grogery's explanation is rather elegant in its simplicity. The whole story is fake. Celestia simply brainwashed the whole country. An interesting idea that had been provided by Lightning Flicker in his video. As a previous bearer of the elements, Celestia shares a certain connection to the new bearer. AnYPony Brony speculates that there has been a prophecy which Celestia and Luna try to fulfill. Old prophecies causing a lot of trouble. Kind of reminds me of Harry Potter. Talking about him, Lilly Steam quotes Dumbledore's statement about the severity of his mistakes and draws a parallel to Celestia. Alter93 speculates that Celestia and Luna had a bet going on if Twilight would succeed or not. Kind of like a bet between God and the devil. I like it. Now for the a little bit more exceptional ideas. The first one comes from nobody less than DrWolf. In his video response, he brought up his time travel theory he introduced in the context of his Season 4 wishes. Since we are on the topic of time travel, is it possible that Dr. Hoofs is somehow involved in the events? Another sweet sci-fi and fanfiction reference comes from Cloud Cuckoo Country. Only the infinite improbability drive from So Long and Thanks for All the Ponies could explain the pilot episodes. Or MLP is just one big MMORPG like Eevee Princess explains. And finally, the top reply, answering every single question I had in a cohesive and mind-blowing way. Jim Fear's video reply, after you saw this, you will understand everything. Well, I guess my questions have been answered extensively. Time to move on and never, never look back. This is AnYPony saying see you soon.